Hey everybody, Avialence here, and many of you guys know that I did start a weapon talk series about Ghost Recon Future Soldier weapons a couple weeks ago when the game first came out, and many of you guys have been requesting tons of different guns, so I wanted to go through a few of those guns today, and now we're actually going to be talking about the ACR. So the ACR I've actually already done a build video for in the closed beta, but a few things have changed, and I also have different builds for the ACR, so today I'm going to go ahead and share 3 of those with you. Not too many differences, but we'll talk about my overall favorite build and then 2 subsidiary builds that I use and why. So I've went ahead and I have stripped down the ACR to its basic parts, as you guys know who watch the show. And we're going to go ahead and hop into the firing range here and see how the gun handles without all of its attachments. So the ACR is already a fairly accurate weapon. Burst around, a couple hits here and there, but overall it's fairly accurate, even if you crouch, and especially if you lie down starting out, it is just dead on accurate. Even at the longer ranges, you're still going to be able to hit people and kill them fairly quickly. Now, the ACR doesn't have a lot of power. It is the Adaptive Combat Rifle, and it's actually a big project that Bushmaster's been working on. Bushmaster does make the ACR, and the ACR is probably going to be a future weapon. Now, what I mean by future weapon is there's a couple different companies who have made variations of this gun. Magpul actually made one. I know they did one for airsoft specifically, the Magpul Masada, and it's extremely popular in the airsoft community. Now I'm not sure if they're actually helping to make the, I'm pretty sure they are, but you know, don't quote me on this. I'm not sure if they're actually helping to make the real ACR. I do know that Bushmaster does one now, and the ACR stands for Adaptive Combat Rifle, or it can also stand for Advanced Combat Rifle. Now the ACR is a combination of the best of all 3 worlds. You have the best of the M4, the best of the M16, and the best of the SCAR. Even if you look at the design, I think it's fairly easy to tell. So we'll talk about that in a minute here when I hop back into the thing. But you can see, you know, it's fairly accurate, especially at long range. I mean, you can hit a guy with a few bursts. It just has that up and to the right feel, right? It's always curving up and to the right. And we're going to go ahead and fix that with a few small pieces in the gun editor. So let's go ahead and exit the firing range here. Now, this is the ACR. I've stripped it down entirely, like I said. Stripped it all the way down. And you can see that it definitely has some influx of different features of the guns. Now, what the ACR is really known for is everything's ambidextrous, which I think is kind of funny they didn't put in the Ghost Recon game here, because you see that the trigger selector fire switch is on both sides. It also has ambidextrous mag release catches right above the trigger guard. And then here, where you have the bolt, it is not ambidextrous, but it is in the on the actual rifle. So that's why it's so popular, is because most of the guns these days are left or right, and there's really nothing you can do to change that. However, everything with the ACR is ambidextrous, which I think is actually quite phenomenal, you know. Now, you look at the ACR, and it does have the best of all 3 worlds. You have the length, the barrel length of an M16, you have the body of an M4, and the stock of a SCAR. Now, these all make a hell of a gun, and that's why I prefer the ACR over almost any other rifle out there currently, both in real life and in video games. I'm a big fan of this gun, and I'm looking actually to get the airsoft version of it as well from Magpul. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the builds. So I have 3 different builds for this gun, and I'm going to show you all 3. Now, we're going to start with my favorite. This is a personal favorite. I like this because it has a lot of range. Now, with range also comes maneuverability, and I actually will mess with a few parts here. We'll go ahead and start with the trigger. So the trigger, mock trigger. I just prefer fully automatic fire, and as long as you're walking the trigger and you can click in and out of it, you know, pull the trigger down for a few shots, let it go, just quick release, you should be fine. So there's really no need to go with semi-auto or 3-round burst, because the ACR doesn't have too much damage already, so you're going to have to put a lot of bullets in an opponent before you can bring them down. Next, we go to the magazine. Now, I prefer the standard magazine. Many people go dual magazine or drum magazine. I actually do use the dual magazine in one of my builds, but the drum magazine, I just don't feel like it's necessary. It's a ton of rounds and really screws up your maneuverability, so I always skip the drum mag, but I will plan on going armor piercing ammo as soon as I get to level 36. I'm currently level 34. So we're actually going to go with the, not the dual magazines for this build, because I don't use them in this build, the standard mag for this build. And for the underbarrel, it's pretty simple. There's different attachments you can use. For the first build, this is kind of a soldier maneuverability build. So I actually go with the vertical foregrip, It increases stability while moving, so when you're actually moving and doing cover rolls and doing the barrel rolls to the left and the right, this will definitely increase your stability, which is extremely helpful in a maneuverability build. And that's why I honestly enjoy it so much, because the ACR already has so much control, and it'll keep going up with some more parts we put on it, so why mess with it? Although vertical foregrip would be great for my maneuverability build, I also prefer the angled foregrip. So for this maneuverability build, we're going to go vertical. Now, gas system, you're going to go under gas, just because it increases control but reduces rate of fire. The control buff is great. The ACR already shoots, I believe, around 900 RPM. This only reduces it to like 924, or I think it's 900 or 824. And it makes the gun just a lot better overall as far as maneuverability goes. So I definitely prefer the undergassed for the undergassed, and then the vertical foregrip as well for the maneuverability and the control bonuses, especially since we're going to be moving around. Really, you only have two options here. You have the rail cover or the aiming laser, and seeing as the aiming laser only increases what you got, I always have an aiming laser on my rifle. Next is the barrel. So you're going to have three options here, the short, standard, or long. I personally prefer the standard. It's the perfect balance between the two, and it's not going to kill you too much because the ACR already has plenty of range, and it's actually maneuverability almost at 42% if I'm not mistaken, so definitely maneuverability. Now, when I am moving around and using cover and everything, this, like I said, this is a kind of all-around maneuverability build, so I actually go with the suppressor. Now, the suppressor hides muzzle flash, and that's great in the sense of you will not be able to be spotted as easily, and you won't be able to be heard as easily. So I prefer the suppressor on my maneuverability build. Next, this is going to be kind of standard across all three. We're going to go with the fixed stock. It just increases control over the extended, and overall is better. It also decreases the recoil. Now here, I personally prefer red dot. Again, quick maneuverability and maneuverability bonus. So there's the actual gun completed. This is my maneuverability stealth build. Now, this isn't my favorite of the three builds, but this is one that I use quite frequently. So you can see we have a red dot on there. We stuck with the standard mag, which will be armor-piercing ammo at level 36. Now, the armor-piercing ammo will negate the damage reduction of the silencer to make the gun just as functional as it would be before. Now, the range is already up there, the maneuverability is there, so we're pretty much all good. Now, the red dot you can change out for a different scope, but I really wouldn't worry too much about it. I just prefer the red dot because of the maneuverability bonus. So there you go. So we're about at 40% power. We're still at about 60% range. The control's up to the 70%, and the maneuverability is also up to the 50%. So this is actually a fairly decent weapon build for the ACR. Now we're going to go ahead and take it into the firing range, shoot it around a little bit. So you can see it doesn't reduce the recoil as much as you would want, but it's quick to maneuver with in the sense of, excuse me, that was a big fail. Maneuver here, hit there, hit there. You're going to have a faster zoom in and zoom out based on the maneuverability. And it's still fairly accurate if you crouch. The big thing for me too is the combat rolls, which are done by holding down B, and it's extremely accurate when getting up or rolling into those combat rolls. And that's great for around the corner stuff. Whenever you want to go around a corner, like say, this is actually going to be a terrible demonstration, but say this is a corner, or this is a corner, and I'm walking in, and I jump around, and it's easily able to go around. So it's good. It's good for maneuverability. However, this is not my favorite ACR build. So we're going to go ahead and back out here and go into my favorite two builds. Now, I have two more builds that I use for different scenarios. We're going to start by going with my favorite build. This is my personal favorite ACR build. It's done by maxing out range and control and keeping maneuverability and damage exactly where they are. So here, we're going to keep all the basic stuff here, but we're actually going to go through and change a few things. So for the trigger, I keep the mock trigger again because fully automatic fire. It's easy to single shot if you just are a little sensitive on the trigger. Magazine, I keep it the standard the same because that will be armor-piercing ammo at level 36 for that damage bonus. Now here, from the vertical foregrip, I actually swapped to the angled foregrip because I'm not worrying about maneuverability too much with this build. I'm not going to be going around corners and sniping people in crazy corner rolls like I was doing with the other one. Now, this angled foregrip reduces the amount of recoil felt, which is fantastic. It helps out a lot with this gun, so I go ahead and pop that on there. Also here, I have the undergas still, just because it increases control, doesn't dumb down the rate of fire. Side rail stays the same. I always prefer the aiming laser for that extra control bonus. Barrel stays the same and is going to be a short barrel, or excuse me, not short barrel, a standard barrel, just because it's the perfect balance for this gun. I really haven't worried too much about changing the barrels out with the ACR. Now we're actually going to change this suppressor down to a compensator. Now the compensator, again, for those of you who are veterans of the Ghost Recon, compensates for recoil and muzzle climb to increase control. So that'll help us with handling our gun better again. Also, we're going to have the fixed stock still, just for that control bonus. You see my control is now at about 90%, which is fantastic, and I haven't lost any damage, range, or maneuverability. And now, this, again, scope, personal preference, but for this build, I actually prefer the tac scope. The 4x magnification is great for medium range engagements, and it's not too bad if you're up close. It won't hurt you. And we're going to go with my favorite paint job of the tan. So there you go. This is my personal favorite ACR build, minus the armor-piercing ammo. This is the jack of all trades. It's not going to be as accurate as some of the single-shot guns or have as much stopping power as some of the guns such as the 417. However, this is probably the most versatile all-around gun, and it handles extremely well in almost every combat scenario. And it also doesn't hinder your maneuverability, so you're able to sprint fast into objectives and work through stuff. So we're going to go ahead and take this thing to the firing range. But I do want to state, many of you guys have been saying, which is your favorite ACR build? This build right here is my favorite ACR build. I love this thing. You see the recoil has been reduced severely, which is great with the compensator, the fixed stock, the undergas system, and the vertical foregrip. And these things, or excuse me, the angled foregrip. And these things all help make the ACR what it is. Even when standing up, it's still extremely accurate. And especially on those longer range fights, you'll see that you're able to hit people very easily with just a little bit of top right climb. And if you play with the ACR fairly often, you'll be able to compensate for that top right climb just by holding down the trigger to the bottom left. It's not going to hurt you too bad, and you'll get used to it, I promise. Now that armor-piercing ammo we are missing, but that will add some damage to it in the end. And that is basically the only thing that's missing from this gun. I do prefer the tan color because that is what my real one is going to look like when I buy it. I'm a big fan of the dark earth is what it's called, or tan camouflage, you know, they're just being fancy about it. But you can see this gun's great. Now, I know I talked about silence and maneuverability with the red dot scope, but this thing's still very maneuverable, very accurate. It's much more accurate. The only thing that's going to have is an occasional bullet flying to the left or the right. But it's extremely accurate in almost all scenarios. This gun is great. It's not going to hinder any part of any stat. It's only going to increase the control and the bullet damage. And it's also very accessible at the longer ranges, as you guys can see. So this, personally, is my favorite ACR build. However, there's still one more build we need to discuss. So, as a rifleman, one of the big things you're good for, right, is not only using a gun like this, but also being able to rush and hold the front line. That's what a rifleman's for, right? So I'm not a fan of the light machine guns personally, because these light machine guns are not very accurate, take a lot of time to reload, and are really built for suppressive fire in this game. So now I'm going to take my favorite ACR build right here, the standard rifleman ACR build, and I'm actually going to turn it into a frontal assault weapon. Now, again, these are pretty standardized changes. The magazine is going to be a dual magazine for that extra ammo. Some people go drum mag, but again, I don't think it's worth the maneuverability decrease, especially since we'll be putting an explosives launcher on this build. So I go with the dual magazines. That way it's the quicker reload in between every 2 mags. I also go with the 40mm HE-DP launcher. This is a high explosive launcher that is unlocked at level 28 for the rifleman. Now this is going to kill your maneuverability, and also you cannot use a foregrip, so it's going to reduce a little bit of control. However, the grenade launcher's amazing at helping you defend objectives, and that's what I really use this gun for. If someone's capping an objective around a corner, I can shoot a grenade, and whether it kills them or doesn't kill them, it'll push them back or knock them back off that objective. And the grenade launcher is great also for getting in some of those pesky little windows and things in some of the objectives. You can easily shoot a grenade out of the launcher through a window instead of trying to crazy angle throw it. Gas system is going to remain the same, under gas for that control bonus. Laser sight stays the same. The barrel stays the same. The compensator is going to be there, just because the compensator helps with that recoil. The fixed stock is also going to remain the same for that control and recoil bonus. And the scopes are really your own choice. Here, because I'm going to be moving around a little bit more, I actually don't go with the tack scope. I personally prefer the the holographic weapon sight magnified with this rifle. So you can see here, this is my assault build. It's a lot heavier and a lot bulkier, but it's going to be able to put down a lot of damage and keep you in the fight. It also has that holo magnified to make sure that you'll be able to have a good range while not sacrificing your close quarters combat zoom in. And it's still got a great amount of control. Plus you have the dual mags for quicker reloads. And of course that grenade launcher is going to be a big thing to help you blast those guys away. So we're going to go ahead and take this thing into the firing range now. Now you can see the control is going to be a little less. You're going to have a lot of bullet recoil. It's something you can easily deal with, just as I am here, by pulling down the trigger for just 2 or 3 rounds, and it's still going to do just as much damage and be just as accurate, even at the longer ranges. Now, you saw that quick reload. The quick reload is every 2 clips, and it's really fast. There's another one right there. This is the best way to compensate for staying in the fight. Now, you're going to have a slow reload every 2 clips, but it's not going to hurt you. It's easy to manage and easy to get used to. But you can see the accuracy is a little decreased, but we decreased that accuracy so we could have this. While you can pull out a grenade with the left bumper and aim and try to get it in like throwing a baseball in a toilet bowl, the underbarrel grenade launcher is extremely effective because all you do is simply pop up on the D-pad and then you have a grenade. Now these grenades can be shot straight forward. They will knock enemies down, throw them back, or allow you to protect objectives. And if you get really good with it, you can actually get people from a distance. It's going to have a bit of an angle, but it also helps multiple enemy casualties when they're on the objective. And I also like the grenade launcher over stocking up on frag grenades because it's easy to swap between. I can shoot a grenade there, bump back, start shooting, come back, reload the grenade. Well, obviously it's not going to be as quickly because I had to reload. So let's say I'm shooting this guy right here, another guy pops up on the objective over there, I can swap over, bam, gone. 2 dead, or 2 knocked back. This build is great for those objective-based game types, and is one of my personal favorites as well. These all are, and I'm a big fan of the ACR, if you cannot tell. This is the only weapon I've done 3 separate builds for in one video, but you guys have been asking for ACR stuff for God knows how long, so I wanted to make sure that I gave it to you. So this is 3 different builds for the ACR. One, we have the maneuverability stealth build with the red dot and the silencer. Second, we have my personal favorite build, which is the all-around rifleman build with the ACOG scope, angled foregrip, and compensator. And then third, we have the quick assault objective-based build right here, which I am demonstrating now. So I hope this has given you guys some idea of my builds for my ACR. I am a big diehard fan of the ACR, and many of you guys have been requesting the ACR. I'm also proud to announce that I did start taking down requests on paper, so I'm going to go ahead and reveal the next video that I'm going to be doing on weapon builds. The winner of the next video is the AK200. Many of you guys have been asking for an AK200 build, and rest assured, by the end of the week, the AK200 build plus my commentary will be live on YouTube for your viewing pleasure in 1080p HD. So I'm extremely happy to announce that. Keep posting builds, and if I have the credits to build them, I will build them and share them with you. Coming up after the AK200, we're going to dive into a few sniper rifles, per request of some of you guys, and those will be in the coming weeks. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, tell me what you think. If you want a gun done, I'll be happy to do it. And also subscribe, share this video. If you enjoy my content and you think some of your friends would as well, please feel free to throw them up on your social media sites, your Facebook, your Twitter, and everything like that. It really helps me out, and it brings more people to the community, which is great for all of us. And I'm really excited to have some of you new guys here. I am really excited to have some of you new guys here. And I also want to go ahead and say one more thing as far as our community goes. I've done my best to answer comments on my YouTube videos as quickly as possible. Sometimes I get a little sidetracked though. The best place for you to reach me personally, and you can actually email me personally there if you would like to dish out a request. or get my opinion on something is my Facebook fan page. The link is in the description below this video, and my Twitter page as well. So please feel free to follow me on Twitter and like my fan page on Facebook and actively be involved in the community. I'm also announcing that I'm going to be doing community game nights. Now, there will be a separate video for the community game nights, of course. However, these community game nights are going to be live streamed via my Twitch TV fan page starting in July, and these will be posted on my Facebook page saying, hey, community game night tonight. If you guys want to join, drop your gamer tag on this post. So I will put that post, you guys will add your gamer tags, and I will not friend request you guys in game because my friends list is a tad bit full with all of my connections and all of my real life friends. But I will send you a message, get you in a party, and depending on what we're playing, like Skyrim, we'll be able to talk and chat and give some opinions, and you guys are welcome to ask me questions, or any of the other hosts as well that are in my videos. And if they're multiplayer games, such as Ghost Recon, or what else have I done? Ghost Recon, Mass Effect, Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, Gears of War, Max Payne 3, any of those, if there's a multiplayer game, if we have enough people, we'll do our own private match, and I will be recording these private matches, and you may have a chance of showing up in one of my YouTube videos yourself, or just being there and hanging out with us on the live stream. So that's the announcement for that. There'll be a separate video, but I just wanted to give you guys a little update on that in one of my more popular ACR build videos. I hope this has answered everything you need to know about my ACR builds, and rest assured, more talking weapons with Avi are on the way. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll be talking to you in the next video. Have a great week, everybody.